How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the more mid to end game version of the um, Terra Gemma, the Fire Terra Gemma here on Gemma 1. With this version of the build, you are using a staff because we are running cast on crit, and that is a requirement here. And then we are just running, you want affliction on every single piece of gear. If you are going to be buying rings or starting off, your most important mod on rings is affliction effect. Your second most important is reaping cooldown recovery speed. And then if you do end up wanting to run Imperial Might, you will need to get this Terra Charge recovery speed on your rings as well. If you are just running the version here with Corrupted Marrow and Kingly, you don't need the Terra Charge recovery speed at all. You just want the reaping cooldown, recovery speed, affliction effect, and then like the ES, and then just resistances is fine. Same thing for the other ring. For your belt, it's same thing. We are crafting affliction effect most importantly, and then resistances. And if you have room, you can put a reap on there as well. It's not necessary. You can get reaps other sources as well, but it is going to be a damage increase if you do get your reap here on your belt. For your boots, you are still using King's Boon, just as you were in the prior version of the build or in the starter or budget version of the build. And then we are going to be using a just an amulet here with affliction effect. You do want this to be +1 or +2 fire. I was just using this. I moved the gear over from Gemma 2 just to test it to kind of see what the build looks like on Gemma 1. And then same thing for your gloves, +2 to spells, and then we have a reap on here and just resistances and ES. And then for your helmet, preferably you'd want a +2 max Terra quantity if you can get it. If not, just again get this base Corrupted Marrow here for a couple FE. Same thing with Kingly armor. You can get one that's a +2 here. It doesn't really matter. Like this +2 isn't even doing anything right now because the Frost Terra isn't an active skill right now, so it's probably not even going to be doing anything for the levels. And then if you wanted to, you can craft a helmet as well if you are going to move off of using Corrupted Marrow. This will give you some aura effect and some extra affliction. So this one will be a DPS increase for when you're using Imperial Might, but before that it's not going to be, so don't worry about it. Save your money. In regards to the tree, nothing changes on the tree, but for your slates, you do need to get a slate with Versatile. It is mandatory. There's no way around it. This is what you're using in order to get a 100% crit chance on your cast on crit. And then for the skills themselves, it is important that you get a precise triggered on crit strike. You cannot use this build with a non-precise version. Your damage will be really, really bad. Not recommended whatsoever. The damage penalty for a non-precise version, so if you see the precise version here, 535% additional damage. If we were to look at the non-precise version here, the damage bonus is 0. So and the trigger rate is even slower. So significantly penalized. The build does not work without this. So it's kind of hard to league start, like going directly into the cast on crit version. You will have to play the non-cast on crit version first. So to be starting off, you are just going to be using like wands with some affliction effect and like +2 to fire, and not much else on it. For your main skill, you are going to be using Savage Charge with Reaping Agony, Hardened, and Guard. And then we do need to put a rhythm on Starstalker here, because if you click this while you are charging, it will stop your charge. The rest of these skills are fine. They don't need to be on rhythm. You can put them on rhythm if you want, but if you don't mind hitting them, you can just hit them as well. And then same with Blurry Steps. You can run this while you're charging, increase your charge speed, things like that. Same Soul Eater candle we were talking about before, and then a candle with +1 max Terra quantity. You can use the max Terra quantity +1 or the +2 to fire. They're both going to be pretty comparable damage-wise. And then for your passives here, we do have this Elemental Amplification, Elemental Res, Frigid Domain, Energy Fortress, and Magical Source. And then we have a Curse on Hit here. This is actually the wrong curse. My damage is lower than it should be. This is actually supposed to be Entangled Pain. So let's actually go ahead and get this put in here. And then with Seal Conversion, and then Swiftness and Deep Pain. And then again, for your supports here, you do need Ground to Divide, Speed Up Formation, Control Spell, and Cataclysm. If you are using the Kingly armor, the more budget version, you can run this with Fire Explosion instead, or with Freeze Chance instead. It doesn't really matter. Instead of Speed Up Formation, the damage difference is like basically the same, so you can just leave it. It doesn't really matter. But let's go ahead and showcase with the Entangled Pain. It should be more damage than the other one here because of the lowered res, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, that might only be a Gemma 2 thing, but typically the Entangled Pain is going to give you more damage depending on your actual total affliction effect. Alright, I guess not on Gemma 1. Why is the question, though? I wonder if... let me double check something. I wonder if something's either bugged or not. Very overkill, but I don't feel like moving over beacons. I don't know if you're freezing enough to trigger Ice Symbiote on this, because you're killing things too quickly before you freeze them. So Ice Symbiote is worse. Yeah, I don't think Ice Symbiote works on this character because you are, you're not freezing. Like, you're killing things before you freeze them most of the time. Yeah. So you don't Ice Symbiote on this character. But you don't really need it. It's not really that big of a deal. Like, I get spec points into, what's it called as well, and I'm just like not, you know what I mean? But for like getting your character into T8, so you could effectively get there probably for like making a staff like this. You can make a worse version of the staff for like 250 or something. Yeah, my prior... This is the staff I made for 250, actually. What am I talking about? Yeah, I made this staff for 250. Because I pushed... well, this one was T1 originally, because... Or T2 or something, even, before I re-rolled it. So it was 250. But I just bought this staff right here with... +6 dispels, and this was T1 mod here. And it's like 50 FE. Oh, it's even less now. Oh, with T1 mod. So I bought this, it was around 50 FE with open prefixes and just like 2 suffixes or whatever, and then you craft it. I don't know, if you look at my prior video, I post exactly how I crafted it. My last video for Gemma 2 or whatever. You can buy a cheat base like this, and then you just craft these other 3 mods on it, and then go or whatever. Or you like slam it and then craft them or whatever. You just go buy the one without whatever on it.